back, everybody.
Welcome back.
I'm Matt.
I'm Jimmy.
We are two average guys coming at you here on Cornhusker Nation's Facebook page to talk to you about the Husker win yesterday.
Yes.
So we got another win yesterday.
We were there.
We were there. It was definitely cold.
First half was cold.
Yeah. The first half was cold. The second half started to warm up a little bit, and then it started to cool down once the sun went back behind the clouds again. But really, it was a fun game. That's
November.
That's the first game I've been to that we've won since I think we beat Kansas in 2009 or something.
Really?
So it's because then
man.
I saw us lose to Texas in 2010, the last time we played them. So for me, it was a lot of fun to finally see the Huskers win in person. I had a great time, and it was a fun game to watch.
Yeah, it was a really good time.
So we're obviously going to be touching on that today. But before we go into that, I wanted to cover a couple different things, a couple different topics. So first of all, I want to talk about the contest we had a couple weeks ago for the Iowa Hawkeyes versus Nebraska day after Thanksgiving tickets. So had a lot of people enter, a lot of people sharing it, a lot of people had some really good guesses. One person was really almost spot on, and I did double check to make sure it wasn't edited. He posted it about a week before the game, and excuse me. His name is Tim Hutfless, and you are taking K. Hunter. His score prediction was 36-30 Ohio State, with Nebraska getting 440 yards of offense. Well, it was 36-31 Ohio State, and we had 450 yards of offense. So,
good call there, Tim.
Almost spot on, Tim. So, congratulations. We will be contacting you, so make sure your messenger is open and available to receive messages. And we will reach out to you on details on how to get the tickets. It'll probably be Dalton, who one of the other admins on the page. So we'll make sure we reach out to you there.
Congrats. Might be cold, so make sure you're going to dress warm for that one.
It might
it's
be
always a cold one.
So, Tim, congratulations on the tickets for Iowa versus Nebraska day after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, and I think we got a good shot at winning that game.
We'll talk about the next two. We'll talk about the next two games because we have a lot to say about that, and of course we're going to talk about offense, defense. One other thing I want to talk about real quick, something we posted on our page yesterday, and actually previously in the week, was a contest and a fan vote for Kelly Healy, who is a local tattoo artist here in Omaha, and she is hoping to get voted on to be on the Inked magazine cover. For those of you who don't have tattoos, might know nothing about that, but obviously I do. But
I
but she's a local tattoo artist, so we thought she asked us to share the information on the page to hopefully get some more fan votes, and so that's why you saw that on our page in the first place.
Being from Nebraska and being a Husker fan.
And she's a fan of our page as well, and so we wanted to make sure we showed the love and get the information out there. So I was actually very excited to be a part of that and be able to help her out and get the fan votes, and a couple days left to still vote, so be sure to get your votes out there. The only thing I wanted to comment on is just the people that decided to essentially spew hate and be what I like to call keyboard warriors out there and think they're doing good for themselves and for others, and really taking shots at her. I really thought that was a low blow. A lot of people calling her a slut and just really demeaning her on social media. To me, that's one of the biggest problems with the world right now in 2018 is people that sit on your high pedestal and think that you're better than everyone else. You can go out there and call somebody a slut or indecent human being just by the way they look, the way they dress, and that's fine if you don't like the picture or don't like what she does for a living, don't like her tattoos, but for God's sakes, keep scrolling or leave. We lost like 35, 40 people on our page yesterday because of the picture, and if that's how you really feel, I don't want you following the page anyways. So
you don't know the person.
Yeah. So
you don't.
Goodbye.
I don't want to say anything. Anyway.
So best of luck to her. We'll keep voting, and then hopefully we don't see any more derogatory comments. If we do, we're just going to delete them, and then you might just get blocked anyway. So just leave if you don't like it. Another thing we want to mention before tomorrow is Happy Veterans Day to everyone who served in the past. Who continues to serve and plans on serving in the future, serving our country. We definitely appreciate and have a lot of gratitude for what you do. We have a grandparent, great uncles. I have an uncle who also served. So
a lot of friends.
We have friends, family. So thank you for all that you've done for the country, and we'll continue to do in the future. All right, so let's get into it. So Huskers, we take on Illinois. After seeing them play the previous week, I kind of had a feeling that not only were they going to run the ball quite a bit on us, they were going to be successful running the ball on us, and it might be a high-scoring game.
All right. I mean, my prediction was 51-34, which is not too far off.
No, not too far.
I knew we were going to be able to score points. That's what everybody, Maryland scored 60-some points a couple of weeks ago. And, we knew we were going to be able to get a lot of yards on them.
Yeah.
I did believe that they were going to be able to score on us, and they did.
Yeah.
It is what it is. We can break things down a little bit more into that.
Yeah.
But great start. Came out, scored in, 3-4 plays.
Yep.
Scored in like a minute.
Yeah.
Or 2 minutes, and the next drive we scored in a minute.
We scored on back-to-back drives, which we haven't done all year.
That's true.
And that's one thing that I've noticed over the course of the season is when we have scored on our first drive, which took us a few games to do so, we score on the first drive, and then from there, we stall out on the second drive, stall on the third drive, and we start getting those punts in there, and we don't continue the process.
3 and outs. And that's when the field position game becomes huge.
And so that was exciting to actually see us score back-to-back drives. And it was good because Illinois wasn't going to stop scoring. So McKenny asked about Azigbo. So let's talk about Azigbo real quick. So he had 162 yards rushing on 11 carries and 3 TDs, a 60-yard rushing TD, and a 66-yard rushing TD. 2 longs of his career. And, I mean, that was incredible.
Agreed.
And I saw on Twitter earlier, someone posted, I can't believe everyone's so shocked about Azigbo and what he's been able to do this year. Well, man, we haven't seen him for 3 years.
Well, and we've seen him,
but
we've seen him every year. I think going into last year, it was his job to take going in, and then no one stepped up. It was Trey Bryant, Azigbo, and Wilbon, and no one really stepped up to take that lead role. So they said they were all number 1. Mm-hmm. Well, then first game we realized Trey Bryant was number 1. I really thought Azigbo would step up in that spot, and he didn't. That's okay. Frost came in and changed his mind real quick. He definitely could be a guy that you could have thought maybe would have transferred.
Yeah.
Maybe not, but either that or just kind of fallen into kind of a Mikel Wilbon.
Yeah.
And he decided he was going to lose 15, 20 pounds, and he's a lot faster. He's still got that power to break through, and he's got the speed. Oh, it's great. So I love him.
I think his draft prospect. I mean, right now he's building his draft potential right now, and if someone is not looking at him yesterday, you were telling me he's like number 55 or something as on a running back draft potential. To me, I think there's no possible way he's that.
He's not even, like you said, he's not even the 55th running back in college football.
Yeah, out of college football, he's graded above a lot of different running backs. I mean, he's been better
not even just stat-wise.
Well, yeah, he's been better than the J.K. Dobbins and the Mike Weber, who I thought coming into the season both had a chance at a Heisman race, and their offensive line proved me wrong. But I think there's a lot of good running backs out there, but, I mean, he's definitely, to me, top 5 in the country probably right now.
Top 5, top 10.
The way he's been going.
I would say
you can talk about the teams we played, but that doesn't matter.
And you can look at stats. I mean, Jonathan Taylor for Wisconsin has 600 more yards than he does. But when it comes down to it,
but they run 90% of the time.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
So he's 42 yards away from 1,000. I hope he gets it this weekend.
Yeah.
Really pushing for him. And that too, I think, will help him. I think we're going to be seeing him play on Sundays.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I think someone's looking at him right now. I guarantee there's scouts looking at him and saying this guy can play for us. Whether he's a first down back or a goal line back, and he can play.
The thing about him is that I think the scouts would probably love and our coaches would love is, this is his 3rd coach that he's had in college. Mm-hmm. And he has been able, especially this year, was able to adapt into a starting role.
Yeah.
So I think NFL coaches would like that, meaning, hey, we can bring this kid in and he'll do whatever we want him to do.
Yeah.
So that he can get the job done or see some playing time.
Yeah. Well,
so I think he will.
They know he's going to work hard. They know he's going to come in there and he'll take a leadership role if he needs to.
Hey, you need me to put on 20 pounds? I'll put on 20 pounds and be a back. Or you need me to lose some more weight? You need me to be
Yeah.
early down back, whatever.
Zigbo stepped up this year, and he's been prime time in the backfield. And obviously, we have Mo Washington there as well, who's going to be that next man up next year.
I think he's a little dinged up right now.
Yeah, he's been dinged up last couple games. What I heard is both him and Spielman are both fine. They just didn't feel the need to put them in. They were dinged up. They were sore. And Frost didn't feel the need to put them back in because we didn't need them the rest of the game. So
other guys.
And as Zigbo was running fine, we got other guys that get in the backfield. So
yeah.
We'll talk about defense here in a minute as well. Talk about what we did, but Martinez, I mean, he's got 70% completion on the year. He was 24-34 yesterday, 290 yards, 3 TDs, an interception that was, throwback to when we beat Missouri on a kick pick.
Not quite as crazy as that, but
not quite as exciting. But it was an interception that he threw. But
it was a good play on defense. It was a pretty good ball. But
he also had 55 rushing yards in the TD. So Martinez continues to step up in games when we need him the most, and he scrambles away from the sacks. He scrambles away from the D line. He's just one of those guys that's fun to watch on the field because once he's got the ball, you don't know what he's going to do.
Yeah, and the interception that he did throw, I thought at that particular point in the game we should have been running the ball where we were at. Yep. We were talking about that while we were at the game. It is what it is. The offense is going to run the way it runs, and we're going to be throwing the ball a lot more than, there's going to be times where stuff like that happens.
Yep.
But I say it every week, I mean, this kid's a stud, only up from here.
Yeah,
so.
Absolutely. We had a great game from Stanley Morgan. He had 8 receptions, 131 yards, and 2 TDs, so he's breaching on 1,000 yards. Spielman had another game for 71 yards. He's breaching, getting closer to that 1,000-yard season as well.
They're going to have to keep up those averages if they want to get to that mark, but I think all three of them can.
Oh, yeah, I think all 3 of them, with 2 games left, I think all 3 of them are going to get that 1,000 yards.
I'd really like to see Stanley. I'd really like to see a Zigbo, but both those guys being seniors.
Yeah,
it's just we've never had a 1,000-yard receiver, so I really like to see Stanley.
It'd be nice. Yeah. And we had 606 yards of offense yesterday, so we haven't had 7 straight games of 450 plus ever. So that was fantastic. And if that doesn't shed some light on what's to come next year and in the future, I don't know what else will.
Yeah, I know. And not to quick jump over to defense, but we had 5 takeaways on defense too. So
we did.
That's what we want. We want to move the ball, score some points, and get turnovers.
Yeah, and anybody that watched UCF understands that we're going to give up points, we're going to give up yards. Now, 509 yards is still a lot of yards, and we don't want to do that. But when you get 5 takeaways, granted, some of them were definitely the other team's fault, but you got to take advantage of it. And you got to still got to jump on the ball and do what you can. So we did give up 293 yards of offense in the first half, 509 overall. So definitely not great stats. So what do we want to see moving forward as far as making adjustments? Right now, what I saw yesterday being at the game, I don't know if you saw the same thing I did, but when the defenders are going to make the tackle, they break down and just stop.
Okay. Not
all the time, but they don't attack the ball. And so when they break down and stop and they're on their heels, they get beat. The guy's going to be a guy like A.J. Bush, who had a hell of a game, 187 yards rushing. He's a shifty guy. You don't know where he's going to go. He can move. And we knew that when he was recruited to us. So he can move left or right, and he was able to do that. But when you get on your heels, there's no way you can move left or right with the guy who's going full speed at you. And I feel like that's where we really failed yesterday, not necessarily – some of the schemes were bad, some of the defensive play calls were bad because they ran it 90% of the time. But when a guy attacks – we're talking about skill now. When a guy attacks the runner and then breaks down right in front of him, it's hard to make that move left or right.
Yeah, and I think what a lot of people are probably frustrated about was, and it was frustrating, was, they were running the same thing every time.
Yeah.
The fake handoff, A.J. Bush keep to the left side, and especially on third down.
Yeah.
Whether it was 3rd and 1, 3rd and 10, 3rd and 23, and he runs for 22 yards.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the same thing over and over again. I agree with, what you're saying. I think as like a fan, what fans are thinking is that I don't like to see this consistently over and over again. We got to make a change.
Yeah.
And I agree. I mean, we knew every single time. We knew it was. Like I said, make one of the other guys beat you.
Yeah.
Make one of the other guys try to beat you.
And
go after Bush every time.
And he
have a spy on him.
He showed very early on that he wasn't going to make. If he made the passes, receivers weren't going to catch it.
Well,
but he struggled to hit his targets. His targets struggled to catch the ball. I feel like, yes, definitely spy the QB. We could have technically had 2 guys spying the QB. But our guys, even when we did, I would see Mo Berry or Gifford spying the QB or Doman. What the problem was our defensive line was getting pushed.
Right.
So instead of us pushing up, they were getting pushed back. Doman's not a tall guy. Barry is, but if you get caught left or right,
well,
it makes
if
it
you
tough
get
to make
caught
that move.
open field one-on-one, it's tough.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, I would love to see our defense do a little better, but I know, and Frost said early on, we're going to give up yards, we're going to give up points, but guess what? We're going to score more than you and outgain you.
And we're going to take the opportunities we get off turnovers.
And in the Big Ten, I'll tell you what, there's not a lot of teams that are putting up a ton of points.
Right.
You see a lot more defense, you see a lot more of the run game in the Big Ten than you do the pass game and the high scores. So I think that for the Big Ten, Nebraska's going to be a different type of team in the Big Ten if that's the way we're going to operate. And I think our defense is only going to get better. Mm-hmm. We're going to bring in stronger corners, stronger defensive guys that are going to play into the type of defense that Shanahan wants to play.
Yeah.
And our corners have done just fine. Our safeties have done just fine. I know I've seen improvement. I've seen a lot of improvement.
Well, and one thing too, and this is my opinion on it. AJ Bush played in Nebraska, right?
Yep.
Not played, but he was on the roster at Nebraska, ended up transferring. He's coming in to play at Memorial Stadium. He never got a chance to play at Memorial Stadium as a Husker, other than a spring game. I mean, he wanted to tear it up.
Oh, yeah.
And he did in that first half. He had 3 rushing touchdowns, their first 3 touchdowns,
Yep.
and he was showboating a little bit. Don't blame him.
He was
there.
excited.
You know, if that's a kid that didn't play at Nebraska, I mean, is he looking that good in the first half? I don't think so.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I think, listen, he's a good runner, and
he certainly is.
Last week was a breakout game for him. He's had a couple of games this year, and then he had a good game against Nebraska. But that second half was a tale of 2 different quarterbacks, where really, until the late fourth quarter, we weren't giving them much, and we were able to kind of start to break away. To me, I still think we could have won that game 54-21. But we gave up a couple late TDs.
Yeah, and
probably shouldn't have, but
we probably could have scored another touchdown or 2.
Yeah.
You bring Bunch in, and he has a nice run and fumbles.
Yep.
Whatever. The game was in hand at that point.
Yep.
You only got to win by 1 point.
Yeah,
So.
and I heard on the radio on the way back, someone was talking about, Nebraska's not used to giving up this type of yards on defense. We're not used to that. That's not our defensive history. But I think people are going to have to get away from that and understand, and once again, trust that process and what Frost and his staff are doing. No, we don't want to give up 500 yards offense a game. No, absolutely not. But understand that we're going to give up maybe more yards than we're used to doing, and we're going to get more points. This is first year. This is first year, and I think people still are kind of, hey, we've kind of found our stride in the offense, but the defense is still giving up points, giving up yards. Why haven't they found their stride? Well, I don't think that's really it. I think our defense, they've still seen drastic improvements. We had, like you said, 5 turnovers. Just 3 games in a row we've had 3+ turnovers.
It's been years since we've had, multiple turnovers, like every game.
Mm-hmm.
And we're starting to get there.
Yeah, our special teams looked better yesterday. We had the block punt safety, which it has been 4 years since we've had a blocked punt. So I've seen improvement. I know not everyone feels the same way, but I don't want to harp on the defense too much. I still think there's a lot to work on. I think there's a lot to improve on, and no one's going to argue that. And I want to wait and see what we can do. I want the defensive line to come in. We still have a defensive line who's not pushing very much and getting to the QB. But
and this previous offseason, they weren't exactly sure what the coaching staff wanted. I mean, yes, Trey Neal comes in. He probably explains, guys, here's what we need to do. This is what they want.
Yep.
But without going through the rigors of practice every week and a full season, there's a lot of young guys back there.
Yeah.
So, or a lot of guys that at least will be back next year.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So having a full season under their belts and another off season, I'm optimistic about where the defense will be at next year.
I am too. Get some more recruits in, some more defensive line, defensive ends, some corner safety. We're going to be fine. Nathan mentions, Nebraska playing Michigan State and Iowa. Neither team puts up a lot of points.
Right.
Michigan State's offense is abysmal. They are. I know Colin Coward said the same thing about Nebraska's offense, but he's an idiot and he goes for clicks. That's not. Yeah, I don't know if you heard about that or not. He was talking about Nebraska offense on a show, and he said Nebraska offense is abysmal. Like a week ago, he's an idiot. He's a smart idiot, but he's an
Doesn't
idiot.
make sense.
But I mean, really, I think we have a really good shot to win our next 2 games. After, I don't know if you guys saw the highlights or even watched the game in Michigan State. Obviously, we did not. But we know Ohio State is not very good. We know we took them on. Obviously, the record doesn't show that. But I feel like that game was 9-7 going into the fourth quarter. Then they get a defensive.
Was it 9-6?
Oh yeah, sorry, 9-6.
Yeah.
9-6 going into the fourth quarter. They get a fumble recovery in the end zone for a touchdown, and then they get I think a 2-yard rushing TD from Weber, I think it was. So it's not like Ohio State pounded them, even though it was 26-6.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And that field
or
goal
something. Yeah.
But it's not like they pounded them. I feel like Michigan State's offense is just that bad. They had 2 field goals. You know, we put up 30-plus points on Ohio State, and all Michigan State could do was 2 field goals.
I think they played 2 different quarterbacks, too.
They were combined. I actually put it down. They were combined, let's see, 18 of 48 in the air for 54 yards.
For 54 yards?
54 yards running. 54 yards rushing. I think they had like 180, maybe 200 and some yards
They
passing.
only had 54 yards rushing?
Yeah.
That's really bad.
So, I mean, in Ohio State, we ran for way more in Ohio State.
Yeah.
And Michigan, and obviously Ohio State, their offense isn't exactly humming right now. So, I know a lot of people are thinking Michigan State's defense, yes, they have the top rush defense, but guess what? We can do both. We can run and we can pass.
Right.
I think we're going to find a way to beat both teams.
Or at least be there down to the end in both games.
Absolutely, yeah. I have no doubt. I mean, Iowa showed yesterday that they're depleting right now. They have struggled.
That was a tough one. 14-10.
That was
I watched it when we got back.
And that was a very boring game.
Yes.
That was a very boring game. I just
not hating on either team, and obviously Northwestern just won the Big Ten West. Congrats to them.
Yeah. I just
it's pretty wild.
I mean they scored with 9.5 minutes left in the game.
It was a great catch.
It was, and then still nothing after that from either team. I mean, offensively, both teams. I mean, you can really Northwestern is one of just those gritty teams where they find a way to win in those low-scoring games. But an Iowa team that has 2 of the best tight ends in the country, the best tight end duo in the country, and you're only using 1, and you only had 6 or 7 receptions under 100 yards.
And the other one didn't.
And he had one. Fant had 1 catch for 0 yards. They didn't use him properly. So right now, I think we have all the momentum right now. We have all the momentum. Michigan State.
Sorry, I didn't mean to get off the topic there.
That's fine. Michigan State.
We're still talking about Nebraska here.
Yeah, so we got Michigan State next week. Another 11 a.m. game. I know a lot of people aren't happy about that.
Yeah, I'm pissed. I'm sorry. This is ridiculous. This is the 8th game of the season. It's at 11 o'clock. It's so hard to get recruits here.
We've
play Friday night.
We've been winning at 11, which is nice, but it's our record. It really is. And Michigan State, if they would have won yesterday, maybe it would have been different.
Been at 2:30.
But
either way, I'm not too happy about it.
Yeah, I'm not thrilled about the 11
I know we got to win some games to get in a better slot, like you said.
Yeah.
But
I think we go at home, Michigan State. I think there's no doubt. I think we're gonna put up points. Some people might think we're gonna have to punt a lot. I know their defense is good, but I think right now where we're at and where they're at, I'm not worried about us putting up points, and I'm not worried about our defense right now. Even though we have given up points and yards, they've proven over and over again that they're not a team that puts up a lot of points, especially against a team like Ohio State. They just kind of folded and only put 6. So I think I'm excited. I think we're gonna put up points. I think we're gonna win that game.
All right. One good thing that we were talking about AJ Bush for Illinois and how he used to play at Nebraska. We stayed till the very end of the game, and when the game ended, they go out and coaches shake hands and this and that. I thought it was really cool. Stanley Morgan sprinted across the field over to AJ Bush. Ozigbo was right behind him.
Yep.
It was really cool, and that's something that shows with the culture and the character of not only the players but Frost and what he expects from them, and just the respect level that these guys have for a former teammate. It was really good to see.
Yeah,
really cool.
and that was cool for them to go over and congratulate him on a good game. McKenna mentioned it's we're towards the end of the season and we haven't really seen much improvement on the D. I know our stats and the way we look as far as where we rank in the season. Yeah, we're bottom of the barrel as far as what we're doing on defense. and, we've given up some big yardage on long third downs. We struggle with stopping them on third down conversions. Once again, I'm not going to jump on them too much because I think we've hit them hard enough this year, and I think they know what they need to do. I'm no master on a defensive scheme, and I'm not sure exactly what the answer is. I don't know if it's and Shenander. Let me tell you, Frost isn't going to get rid of him. Frost brought him here for a reason. They won with him at UCF. Frost has a plan in mind. He's not going to just say, "Hey, you had a bad year, bye." It's not going to happen. He's not going to give him less than probably 3 or 4 years.
And
it's just not going to happen.
And they want to get guys in here that fit their style.
Yeah.
And the guys that were on the roster might not fit their style.
Yeah.
And some of them might, but not all of them probably do.
And
they're working with what they got.
Yeah, and I do feel like guys coming in that we recruit, I do feel, especially since we're aiming for a lot of JUCOs right now, if we get some guys to come in on the JUCO side, I think they do have a chance to play right away because they're not going to look at JUCO guys that don't fit what they're trying to do on defense. So I do think we have opportunity to get guys in that are going to be able to play right away. I think we have a lot of good young defensive guys like Cam Taylor and Caleb Tanner. Yesterday, they didn't play a ton, but they played enough that they actually did pretty well. Caleb Tanner had a sack. I think we have some young guys that are going to be able to step up next year into some of those spots and do well.
And like McKenna said, she hasn't seen a lot of improvement. As a whole, I would probably say that is probably true. But if you look individually with some of these guys, going into the season, I knew Muhammad Berry was going to be pretty good, but I did not know that he was going to be this good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Not saying he's perfect, and not saying that he's in position on every play, but he's really good. Lamar Jackson has gotten better, and we harped on him early. DiCaprio Boodle has, guys.
Aaron Williams.
Individually, these guys have gotten better, which I think will eventually lead to more success as a group.
Yeah, and I think you look at guys yesterday like Stilley had a pretty good game, and you can say I want about Illinois, but we saw the speed that they have, and we had to.
I listened to a lot of different things. Everyone was saying Illinois can run the ball.
Yeah.
They might not be a great team, and they might give up a lot of points. That's why they're going to lose games, but they can run the ball.
Yep.
And they can. They could. They did.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where once again I don't want to harp on them too much, just because it is year one. We got to give them time to build it. Just like the offense just turned it around a lot faster because we have a dynamic and awesome freshman quarterback that's doing something that a lot of freshmen can't do their first year, even after sitting a year.
I'd be a little bit more concerned if they had beaten us 54-35.
Yeah, and we are seeing a lot of teams across the country, teams like Florida State and Louisville, that they plain old just are not getting better.
Yeah,
they have gotten worse, if anything else.
Yeah. And you feel for those kids at Florida State. They were recruited by Jimbo Fisher.
Yeah.
And then he jumped ship. So that program's kind of in shambles right now.
Absolutely.
They've gotten blown out by a lot of teams this year.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And even UCLA struggled to start. So a lot. We talked about it earlier in the season, just the rough start that new coaches had. But I think record aside, I think we're in one of the better spots.
But even that, we started 0-6, and 3 of those games, 2 of them were clock management. Were really clock management, and then what was it? What was the other game? I don't remember what the other game was.
There was Colorado, which was
clock management.
Yeah.
With Northwestern was clock management.
That's true. Troy was more of a. We didn't have.
We had 20 penalties.
A lot of penalties. I saw a thing a national writer said this Nebraska team is 3-7, but they could very easily at this point be 8-2.
Yeah.
We lost to Michigan. We easily should have lost to Michigan.
Yes.
Between Wisconsin, Purdue, and Northwestern.
Mm-hmm. The West beat each other up.
Yeah. We could have beat 2 or 3 of those teams. Yeah. So.
Dalton asked about, a 5-7 Nebraska. Do we get to go to a bowl? No.
I know that's been a lot of questions. I think people have done their math, done the research, whatever the variables are.
There's enough 6-6 teams, and then the APR. I know it did happen under Riley, but I don't think Nebraska's going to get a bowl bid if we win out. So really, that Iowa game is going to be our bowl game for our seniors. I think we're going to beat Iowa. yeah, they started off so well and then kind of just crapped it down their leg. And
yeah, I was kind of hoping that there was a chance that we could win out and get a bowl game, which I thought was huge if we could have beaten Ohio State. That we actually could have.
That chance would have been, we could have been 6-6. Yeah.
But I mean, I guess time will tell. But as far as what I've heard is that they're
probably not going
to happen.
The other thing is Northwestern. We'll talk about them here in a second. Nebraska. A couple of things I wanted to highlight was Mick Stoltenberg.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, talk about a guy just with a lot of just grit and determination. I mean, if they showed a replay on TV of him getting rolled up,
or if you stayed all the way to the end.
Yeah, he got rolled on pretty hard, and he gets up and he's like, "Screw it! I'm walking off this field by myself." The emotion, the energy he was bringing to the sideline, and then Frost's response to come over.
The crowd was going nuts. The fans that were left. Anyway.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I mean, to see him get up and walk off the field, I think that was fantastic. I think JoJo Doman, you're seeing him as a regular starter now, which I think he's earned his spot.
Playing a lot more.
He has definitely earned his spot. We did see more of, like I said, Cam Taylor and Caleb Tanner yesterday than we have seen lately. So I think we're going to see more of them in the next couple of games. When time and when the time's right, we'll see him.
Yeah, and one cool thing was with Stoltenberg, I believe Frost said he didn't even have to address the team after the game, that Stoltenberg took care of it.
Yeah,
so,
he said I didn't even talk to him. Mick took care of it.
I thought that was really cool. If you guys didn't get a chance, go on to the either Two Average Guys page, Cornhusker Nation page, or on the podcast. We met with a recruit at halftime of the game yesterday.
Yep.
That was on an unofficial visit.
Yep. Trevor Munson.
Yes.
He's a 2020 recruit. Wide receiver.
Yeah, he was a real nice kid. Loves Nebraska.
He's got family here.
Family from here. His dad is a writer for Rivals.
He covers Husker recruiting. Has been doing it since '99.
He's from Texas. Hoping that he tunes in and watches a little bit. Yeah, he's a real nice kid. Hope to see him in a Husker uniform in a couple years.
Yeah, I mean, he's getting recruited by teams like Yale and Harvard.
Yeah, sounds like a real smart kid.
Yeah,
so
if
he does not choose Nebraska, he's got a bright future.
Academically, he seems like a good kid as well. So he liked his visit with Nebraska. He mentioned that they talked about the meal plans. He was here last year. We had to play catch with Frost. He loves what the coaches, what their plans are, what they're doing with the team, and how they want to address the future of the team.
He's kind of buddies with a few of the guys on the team. Keeps in contact with them.
Yeah, so he's got a good head on his shoulders, and he did say he would never dress up in burnt orange, so that's always a good thing as well. But yeah, I think right now, he said if I had to choose now, I would choose Nebraska.
Yeah, I mean
he's got some time left.
Trevor, he said, that he's never been anywhere like Nebraska.
Yeah.
So that was real cool that we got a chance to do that. It would have been kind of fun if we could have figured out a way to do that in a video, but I think it would have been kind of tough. Plus, the band was right by.
Yeah, the band came by. Yeah.
But
in video, it would have been tough just because of the signal, and we could have shot a video and posted. But that's all right.
I didn't even think about that.
It's nice being able to talk.
It probably would have been really crappy.
Yeah. It was fun either way to get to talk to a recruit. Hopefully, we get to do more of that in the future to bring more and more content to you guys. That in-depth look on what recruits are thinking, how they're feeling, how the visits are going, who they're talking to. Those kind of things are definitely fun for us. We enjoyed it. So hopefully we get to do more of that here in the future.
Yeah, seems like these guys have a lot of respect for Frost.
Yes, and so we'll do a lot. We'll do as much as we can to get that content over to you guys. Nathan said he'd rather beat Iowa as their bowl game.
Probably true.
And coaches go recruit players and get in the weight room and recover. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean it's tough because you get another month with the coaches. If you go to a bowl game, you get another month's worth of practices, which is always a good thing. But like he said, going recruiting for a little while, that's not a bad thing.
Yep. But then you get guys like Stanley Morgan and Zigbo and the seniors that want to go pro. Man, they get started right away, and they can definitely end up getting ready for that pro day to go out there and show what they can do.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so I think Iowa. So let's talk a little bit more about that Northwestern. So Northwestern's 6-4 now, and they are.
And if you have any other questions,
keep
that you
shooting.
Want to go, just shoot them off. But we're gonna.
Yeah. So McKenna mentions Frost is a player's coach. I actually said that yesterday to somebody on on Twitter. I said he's a player's coach.
Yeah.
If you watch the way he addresses
She
people.
says his body language on the sideline shows it. Yeah, I think his body still shows that he could still suit up and play.
The dude was shirtless on Friday when they were doing snow angels on the field. I mean, he's a Nebraska boy, and he has that determination to make sure he's treating the players with respect, doing what he needs to do to get the program back on track. There's nobody wants to win more than he does right now,
Yeah.
and it shows in the way he addresses the players. And I still have yet to see him yell at anybody or any coach yell at anybody on the field. You see him address them. You will see him grab them by the jersey, but he's talking to them. He's going to tell them what they did wrong and how to correct it in order to never do that again, or you'll be benched. I mean, he addresses them the correct way. And that's something that you want to see from a coach that's trying to turn a program around. Instead of demeaning someone's play, he is correcting that. So he's definitely a player's coach, 100%. Max, what's up? So Northwestern, so they're the Big Champ, and so
Big Ten West champ.
the Big Ten West champ. And so here's my thing. I posed a question yesterday to just kind of gauge how people are feeling, because there's been a lot of talk about an 18 playoff for quite some time. From the 4 to the 8, and we talked about it early on in the season, potentially a 6 game. What would that look like? Or 16? What would that look like? So I posed the question: Northwestern, if you have an 18 playoff and you have 5 automatic bids, being the championship teams from the Power 5 conferences, what if Northwestern beats Michigan? Does a 4-loss team? Maybe they got 2 more games, but does a 4-loss team?
That's true.
Do they deserve to be in a playoff spot? After losing 4 games, including a game to Duke and a game to, was it Akron?
Yep.
And Akron. So they lost 2 games to 2 teams that are early on in the season, and then you do well in your conference. Does that really, should you be awarded a playoff spot just because you won your conference?
And I don't think they had that tough of a conference schedule.
No, but it's not going to matter if you go to an 8 team, you got automatic bids for
Right.
championship teams.
No,
That's not going to matter.
I've been a big, when it comes to the 18 playoff, I think I've said it, that I think it should be the 5 Power 5 conference champs with a group of 5 team and 2 at large. That would make for an interesting, I mean, whether it comes down to how you do your seedings, I mean,
Yeah.
that team would probably be number 8.
But I think it's worth a discussion, because right now they're not going to go to 8. We know that.
Right.
UCF is never going to have a shot unless we go to 8. We know that.
Yeah.
And everyone has their opinion on whether UCF deserves it or not, and I'm not going to go into that because I'm on both sides of the fence there.
Me too.
But a 4-loss conference champion or 3-loss conference champion, if they get in over a 1-loss non-conference champ, like let's say in Alabama loses their conference championship and they don't get in because of that, sure, they could be one of the final 3 teams.
Right.
But either way, how is that?
Or even a 2-loss, you know, a team that loses to both. Yes, we do too. Or even a 2-loss team. Maybe it's okay. I don't like to even talk about the SEC, but let's say it's an Auburn that loses to Alabama and Georgia. Their only 2 losses are to Alabama and Georgia, and those 2 teams are in the conference championship. They're probably a better team than you know.
But would it open up the possibility to maybe slide 3 SEC teams in there?
Yes, it definitely would.
And how many people would be pissed and say, hey, we need to go to 16 teams now?
Or we need to go to 12 or something.
It would just expand and expand. So I think, and Ross says that absolutely 18 playoff would be the best mold for college football. So Ross, do you also believe that a 4-loss team getting in would be okay? I'm not trying to argue either way. I'm trying to make sure we get a lot of discussion here, because I think it's interesting, because it could happen this year that a conference champion has 4 losses, and if we had an 18 playoff, they're in. To me, I think it's a healthy discussion, but I also think you got to go back to the way we rank teams from day one. You got those preseason rankings. We've talked about it multiple times. Joel Klatt actually talked about it the other day, and he said Miami is your perfect example of teams that were ranked that shouldn't have been, and that's the problem with preseason rankings, because they're ranked 8, LSU 25. LSU beats them. They flip-flop. One jumps 14, the other drops 14, and Miami has sucked this year. LSU has 2 losses now. They're sitting at 10 in the AP. Who knows where they're going to be at?
I know, and the reason they keep them so high is, well, they beat, their only losses are to Alabama and Florida, but they beat this team and that team. Well, they beat Miami when they were number 8.
Mm-hmm.
They're not number 8.
And so I sent this to you the other day, and I said, look at the preseason rankings. You had number 8, I think it was number 8, 9, 11, 13, 15, 16 or something. All those teams were ranked, and they now have at least 3. Some have 4 losses or more, and they were all ranked in the top 20. So, to me, that furthers the argument that why do you even have preseason rankings when these teams haven't played a game?
Well, and why can't you wait until the first playoff rankings come out?
Well, and so, we know the answer to that.
Well, I know the
TV,
answer to that. TV.
Money.
Right. But especially when, you're going to come out with the first rankings and you're still going to put a one-loss LSU over an undefeated Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Why do you have rankings at all to begin with?
Exactly. And I think that creates, to me, if you didn't have rankings, I understand it's money, I understand it's TV, you got a 14 against a 16 or a 1 versus 6, a 3 versus 7.
Yeah, what they have right off the bat, there was like a
Notre Dame, Michigan, you had Miami and LSU, you had a lot of Louisville, Alabama was supposed to be a big game, but we all know what happened there. So I think it's never going to happen. I know it's not going to happen, but I would love for it to happen where no rankings. To me, that creates even more discussion to where now we're looking at teams as a whole, not because of their ranking or even because of the conference they're in. You're going to look at a San Diego State. You're going to look at a Utah. They're not even talked about at the beginning of the year. But Utah's having a hell of a year.
Or even teams like Fresno State, I know they lost this week, or Utah State, or some of these teams that are now in the top 15, top 20 in the AP poll, maybe not quite in the college football playoff poll.
Yeah.
But, a Utah State that has one loss the very first week to Wisconsin or whatever it was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, and so Ross mentions no winner of a Power 5 conference game should be left out. At least should at least have a chance. So look at college basketball or any other sport in college.
That's a good point.
And it is a good
conference
point.
champ gets into the tournament regardless of your record.
Yep, and so that's why I said I think it's worth a discussion because we could very well have that situation with a 4-loss conference champ not getting in.
And actually, I kind of don't mind it because college football is one of those sports where you can only lose one game pretty much. You can't. Never had a 2-loss champ.
Yeah, it's any given day is any given team's.
So it would bring a little bit more of an opportunity for, we have a couple losses, but the season's not over. We can still win the conference championship and still make it into the final, whatever you want to have it. Final 8 or whatever.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not arguing either way. I think it's worth a discussion because down the road you may see an 18 playoff. Right now, I don't think it's going to happen, but I think down the road you may.
Well,
and then, like you said, you got a 2-loss team that's not going to give up if they have a 2 or 3-loss season because there's a chance, hey, we can still win our conference.
Yeah.
But if they ever do that, SEC is going to have to be forced to play 9 conference games. They're going to have to be forced.
And the Big 12 would maybe have to go to divisions? Or how would you want to do that?
No, I don't think so.
You just have the top 2 teams still play for the championship.
And actually, I kind of like the way that they do their
everybody
conference.
Everybody plays everybody.
Everybody plays everybody, and that's really the way.
Pretty much, that's the only conference that happens.
Yeah. And
the Big Ten used to be that way, and then there was an outright champ.
Yep. And so I don't mind that actually.
Yeah, and it's probably Oklahoma and West Virginia are going to play each other, and they're going to turn around and play each other again.
Yeah, and to me that's. Once again, and like Ross mentions, why not give them a shot? If they go on and beat Michigan, who's a top 4 team, and they have 4 losses, are they not playing their best football?
Well,
and they have a chance to beat that next team.
Maybe you're a team like, well, I guess Michigan only lost 1 game, but maybe you lose 2 of your first 2 games or 2 out of your first 3 games, but then you change quarterbacks or you change positions or something. And all of a sudden, then you come back and win your conference championship.
Yeah.
Michigan now is better than they were when they lost to Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Now Notre Dame
is also better.
They're better. They have a different quarterback than they did at that point.
Yeah.
If they would have lost that game, you could say the same thing.
Yeah. Changes happen throughout the season where a team is maybe the first 3 games, a loss to Duke and Akron. Well, let's see, Northwestern's not blowing teams out.
No, and they're really not that good.
So, and Northwestern's kind of a bad example here because I think they get blown out by any team in the playoff. But I think, once again, it's worth a discussion.
And they're going to get blown out by Michigan.
It's worth a discussion because they might lose to Minnesota or Illinois. Illinois might score a lot of points on them. So
Minnesota just crushed Purdue.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think Northwestern still could lose one or 2 more games. They could be a 6-6 team and play in the championship game. So I think once again, it's worth a discussion because it's fun to talk about for one, because there's so many possibilities.
Yeah.
But Rob said
there used to not even be a playoff. That was just a fun discussion to have.
Yep.
And now we got it. So, what was it? Zom said he thinks it's a 6 team.
Yeah.
And we kind of agreed with that.
Yeah.
But 8 would be kind of fun.
Yeah. So Ross, you mentioned Notre Dame. So Notre Dame, they don't have a conference, so they are taking a conference spot. They're going to take either the Pac-12 or the Big 12.
This year, for right now, yeah.
Yeah.
Because depending on how if they lose this weekend and Oklahoma runs the table and wins the Big 12,
or Washington State,
you're not sure, or Washington State too. If it went to an 8 team, would you think Notre Dame would maybe have to join a conference? Would they have to join the Big 10?
I don't think they have to join a conference, but I think they could be one of those other 3 teams that gets in.
Yeah,
they could still be.
They could
still be in the top 4 teams, and they could be an at-large bid to get one of those last 3 spots.
Well, they could almost depend on season to season. They could almost be an at-large team almost every year.
But
having 1 or 2 losses.
Yeah, but it depends on who they're beating and how they're beating them, because you would have to expand on how you view each team.
And that could be fun too, because then a 4-loss champ ends up stealing a spot.
Yeah,
and the team they beat is still in.
Yeah,
and that steals
a
spot.
Like
the basketball.
Yeah.
In the basketball, a team that's supposed to win a small conference.
Yeah.
Some 500 team comes and steals their spot, and then it bumps somebody out.
Yeah, or in a situation like this, Northwestern beats Michigan. Michigan still might get in because guess what? Michigan's still a damn good team, and maybe they lose a close game. Yeah. So you might not leave them out. So once again, Ross, I appreciate your feedback. I just think it's such a fun discussion.
Talk about it all day.
I really could. And I think we could do our own damn show every Tuesday night as well. I did have a kind of just a funny thought the other day. I do find it funny that they do an hour-long show. However long it is, they spend so much time on those last 4 teams. They do a commercial break. They do this, they do that. But the top 25, no one cares anything outside the top 10 because anybody outside the top 10 has 0 shot.
Right.
And so they spend so much time, so much hype on all these other teams that have no shot at the playoff just to say these are the top 4, or these are the top 10. But it's all TV ratings, it's money.
The reason they do that is so they can show all these SEC teams that are still in the top 25 with 4 losses, and that's why they're going to have 2 teams that end up making it in.
Yep.
I don't think that happens this year.
No. But Ross mentions the Ohio State getting in when they didn't win the conference title.
Same with Alabama last year.
Same with Alabama last year. And I think that we've seen it a couple different times now, and it would eliminate the problem because you still get the conference champion. Absolutely.
What it would eliminate is the committee just deciding who they think their 4 best teams are.
Yeah, you're welcome, Ross.
Rather than here is 5 teams that are deserving to be there, and then they can trickle in a couple others.
And here's what we want to look at for these other 3 teams. Here are the parameters. Here's what they're looking at head to head. We're looking at your opponent's record. That's huge. That should be huge.
Yeah.
How is your opponent doing? Hey, we beat a ranked team. They were number 14. We beat them. Yeah, but now they're like number 42. So
right. And I know that you don't have any control over that. You know when you beat them. At the time, it's a big win.
So you still put a lot of pressure on when you win your games and how you win your games. And yeah, you may have 1 or 2 losses, but understand that it may not be the end.
Yeah.
So like I said, I could talk about this for hours. Once again, Ross, appreciate your feedback here and your conversation because we very well could at some point go to an 18 playoff. I am shocked that Northwestern actually won the Big Ten West. Really, everything kind of fell in place yesterday. They needed Purdue to lose, they needed to win, and they needed Wisconsin to lose. Penn State beats Wisconsin, and Minnesota throttled Purdue.
And then they beat Iowa.
14 to chance. So it was a very boring game. Like I said, I thought Iowa just really kind of blew that game. Second half, they didn't even
A lot of fumbles.
Fant didn't even play in the second half.
Yeah, he must be either he's told them, hey, I'm done. I'm going to the draft.
Well, apparently Noah Fant's family called out coaching Brian Ferentz on I don't know if it's on social media or when they did it, but they called out Brian Ferentz on the play calling and not playing Noah. I don't think he wasn't injured. And I don't think it was him. I think it was. And after the game, Kirk said that we felt like we were doing what we needed to do to win the game, and we felt like we had the players on the field that we needed to win. Dude, you got two of the best tight ends. You're only using one of them, and you're not using them enough.
Basically have the best tight end. He was supposed to be the first-round draft pick.
Yeah.
As a tight end.
Ooh, any undefeated teams are automatic. Like a UCF. Look at Cincinnati this year. They're 9-1. But guess where they're at in the AP? They're at 19. They were at 25.
If that.
They're at 19 in the AP.
The only thing that's tricky about that is, does an undefeated Sun Belt team make it in?
But that's why I think you still have to have the parameters on what you're looking at from a schedule,
who's in
opponents.
Is somebody in the top 25 from the Sun Belt? Or they were in the ESPN Power Rankings.
Yeah.
I'm not sure who it was, but they're not undefeated. They're like 9-1 or whatever.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, a team like Boise State or Fresno State, I mean, they're never gonna have a chance.
Yeah.
Unless you did something like that.
Yeah.
Mountain West or like a Cincinnati or UCF. Anything like that.
They're all kind of on the same level, but it gives them a chance, just an outside chance. Then you got, let's go back to Northwestern Iowa. So Ross mentioned Iowa has no offense. It's a bend don't break defense. They can give up points through the air though. Their offense is stalled out.
Yeah, Stanley was killing it.
He was. He was actually one of my players of the week a few weeks ago.
There was some national guy I was listening to said, and I kid you not, this was like 3 weeks ago. He was like, "Is it weird to say that I have a man crush on Nate Stanley?" And then like that weekend, no, it was that weekend they played Penn State and he sucked. And I was like, "Oh, I bet that guy's taking his word back right quick."
Yeah.
And then they followed up with Purdue and then again against Northwestern.
Their offense has gone down. I actually talked to some logical Iowa fans yesterday on social media, and they were really upset about the game because of the misuse of Noah Fant and just the offense has gone so far downhill. They're extremely upset about that. They are worried about Nebraska because we're on the upswing, they are on the downswing. And they're worried about that game.
It is going to be basically our bowl game.
It will be. And so they're not confident that they're going to beat Nebraska. They're looking forward to the game. They don't say we are going to beat them, but their confidence is down right now as fans because of what they've seen from Brian Ferentz and the offensive play calling, what they've been able to do.
The only upside for them, downside for us, is we have not won a game on the road this year, and we got to go on the road. And it's going to be cold and whatever. But I was a little nervous a little bit that, Adrian Martinez he's from California. He's not played in the attempts.
He looked good yesterday.
He did yesterday. I thought that might be a little bit of a concern going in.
Yep. But
it obviously was not.
It was not. So Kirk Ferentz is one of those lifelong coaches. Pat Fitzgerald, lifelong coach at Northwestern.
Oh yeah,
Scott Frost could end up being a lifelong coach in Nebraska for a very, very long time.
Especially Pat Fitzgerald now winning. I mean, it's the first time they've won the Big Ten West.
Exactly. Strength of schedule. Ross mentioned strength of schedule should have a lot more weight. Oh, absolutely. But it's not going to, because when you look at the SEC, you got 2-3 teams at the top, and everybody else, they may be in the top 25, but they shouldn't be. And they keep ranking them. Kentucky, like I said, is still in the top 20. Florida's up there, and
Florida moved up a bunch of spots.
Yeah, they moved up like 4 spots.
Mississippi State's still in there.
In the AP, they're 25. Yeah, so they're still in there. I mean, it's just I think it's gonna be interesting to see if they put them in the playoff rankings. But so McKenna mentioned the 18 playoff would give smaller conferences who are left out a chance. Absolutely. So yes, a UCF team, the Boise State of the past. Also, the programs would become less redundant. Yeah, so you're not going to see the same old crap over and over again every year.
And what I like about it now is that if we did go to an 18, So back in the day when the Boise State was going undefeated in the BCS and they were getting left out of the championship and they were all pissed, they were going in and beating Oklahoma with Adrian Peterson in a BCS bowl game or whatever.
Yep.
What I like about it now is that, okay, maybe you do put them as the 8th seed, but they have a chance.
Yeah.
You put UCF, maybe they don't beat Alabama last year, but they beat Auburn who beat Alabama and Georgia.
Yeah.
The 2 teams that were in the championship.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just right there, you at least see where they're at.
Yeah, and so, it does give the smaller schools, and there are a lot of just... the reason why there's the bowl games keep expanding. They just keep adding more and more teams make a bowl game, even though they may not be worthy of it. And so someone from the SEC is going to say, hey, we had this many teams in bowl games. Yeah, but your team was 6-6, and they played in this crap bowl that no one's ever heard of because it's brand new this year. But they do keep adding bowl games, which great for some teams that get to play one more game. But do you really give a damn if you're 6-6 or 5-7 to get a bowl bid? Some kids might, most probably don't. So there are a lot of meaningless bowl games.
I have seen somewhere that said every team should play in a bowl game. You match up 0-12 against 0-12 up to.
That's just rewarding a team because they get a lot of free crap too, and they get paid trips to these locations.
They already get a lot of free crap. So
yeah, I don't know.
I think you have to earn it.
Yeah, you earn it. This is not a we're going to give you something just because you played football type award. You have to earn your spot into a bowl game. And like McKenna said, there's a lot of bowl games that are just meaningless, but these teams go because they're 6-6 and they're happy about it, and good for them. But it's a consolation trophy for having a shitty season.
Well, yes and no. I mean, you have a UCF team a couple years ago that goes 0-12. They turn around the next year and go 6-6. Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, they deserve to go to the bowl game. Those kids just went from winless to 6-6 in one season.
Yeah.
Whatever bowl game it is that they're going to, they're pretty excited about it, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I get it. Yeah. So Nathan mentions, the way that we went on the road against Ohio State, playing at Ohio State showed that hey, we're ready to win a road game because we should have won that game. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see if when we beat Michigan State.
Well, and we should have beat Northwestern too.
Yep.
Last 2 road games, we really should have.
Yeah.
So really what could have or should have won.
So what should that point spread be going into Iowa? It will be interesting. I think because of our offense, if Nebraska is favored, I think it's going to be more than 3 points because of the points that we can put up.
I think Iowa's probably a touchdown favorite going into that game.
I think it's going to depend on next weekend though.
That's true. What do you think about this weekend? Do they have anything today?
I didn't see anything.
I haven't looked.
No. Ross says App State versus Michigan. Yeah, anything can happen, especially end of the year. Absolutely. So let's talk about a couple other games yesterday. Michigan beat Rutgers. Ohio State. We talked about Ohio State, Michigan State. Crappy game. Really terrible game until the fourth quarter, where really it was still a crappy game, but Ohio State got a defensive TD, a field goal, and off. I mean, really just a crappy game. Michigan State's horrible. Someone said yesterday Michigan State is probably the worst and most disappointing team in the Big Ten, which is kind of funny.
Well, that's probably true because all I heard leading up to the season was, you got the 3 big dogs, you've got...
We did, yes.
You got 4 big dogs in the East.
Mm-hmm.
You got Ohio State, you got Penn State, you got Michigan and Michigan State. And a
got
lot of them were saying, I think Michigan State's got a real chance, or if not first, they're going to probably finish second. And
right now, I'd say you got 1 big dog against Michigan. Ohio State's not a big dog.
Record-wise, at this point, they probably are, but in the long run, I don't think so. I think that they would get blown out by any of those top 4 teams.
Yeah, I'm saying they're not big dog due to just their play.
Yeah.
They're not a power team right now. Then you saw Penn State beat Wisconsin, so Wisconsin is another team everyone thought was going to be great, and they've had a rough year.
It's too bad we didn't. It's too bad we didn't play some of these teams later on in the season. Yeah. I think we.
Well, Wisconsin lost their big 99 on the offensive line. That was a huge loss for them. Penn State's obviously having a down year. Indiana beat Maryland. Maryland's they've been through so much crap this year. And then Minnesota once again throttled Purdue.
That was a shock.
So the talk right now is Jeff Brom could be going to Louisville.
Is that true?
He's a Louisville alum. And so with Petrino out at Louisville, they're like, Jeff Brom's the front runner, and they're going to be gunning for him. If they haven't talked to him already, they probably are. My guess is he's going to be gone. and we're going to be hearing more about that in the next couple
Really?
weeks. Before the end of the year, I think he'll
I
have
think
a
someone would
contract.
want to leave a Big Ten for an ACC.
It's his alma mater, man.
Guess that's good.
I mean, you're seeing a lot of coaches going to coach. Les Miles might go coach at KU.
Yeah, I heard that.
I mean, those kind of things happen.
And that's not just like a kind of a laughing thing. Like, I think it's
Yeah, I think it's.
they're in talks.
I think there's a lot
It
going
was
on
just
there.
kind of something that popped up, and I was kind of laughing about it. And then I heard that they're in some serious talks there.
Yeah, Ross. It does depend on which Michigan State team shows up. You're right, and I've said that more than once. It depends on which team shows up, but I think we see a depleted team right now that they've lost a lot of steam, and we're on the uptake. I think we have a lot of momentum playing at home as well, and coming into another home game
Yeah,
with a chance to win 2 more and turn our season around.
I expect us to play just as well on offense.
But you are right.
I don't think we're gonna score 54 points like we did this week, but I expect and hope that the defense, steps up a little bit from where they were at yesterday. I think you're going to see a totally different type of team than you had against Illinois. So.
Yeah, and I think that Minnesota. Minnesota was definitely a big shock yesterday, beating Purdue in the Big Ten especially. We had a big shootout, Oklahoma State, which it typically is, and they missed an extra point early on. Oklahoma State did. They went for 2 in the fourth quarter, remaining seconds of the game, and just a terrible throw by Mason Rudolph.
It's not Mason Rudolph.
Who's the?
I'm not
Did he graduate?
Yeah.
Oh damn. So whoever the quarterback is, terrible throw. But I mean, the guy was wide open.
Well,
and he missed him.
He threw for like 500 yards in the game.
Yeah.
I mean,
and so he
pretty
missed
good,
him.
but
He was on the run.
Yeah,
but Oklahoma's still.
I heard a lot of
number
I
7.
heard a lot of talk after the game. I don't know why Oklahoma State would do this. Why they would go for 2, why they wouldn't go for overtime.
Mm-hmm.
And I get that. However, because they were saying, there was still enough time that Oklahoma could have gone down and kicked a field goal and still won the game.
Oklahoma State has nothing to lose this year.
Yes, and you know what? They couldn't stop them. So
Yeah.
I mean, what, you're gonna go to overtime and
Yeah.
then they score, and you know what I mean? I mean, neither team can stop either team, I guess.
Yeah, but take a shot.
Yeah, I liked it. Don't miss your extra point early on, and then you kick an extra point to win the game there.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. And once again, we mentioned Kentucky lost to Tennessee, the second loss in a row.
Right.
someone had the balls to say that Tennessee is on the upswing and they're going to be looking really good next year. And I'm like, oh my God, they're going to be in the top 15 next year to start the season.
They'll be in the top 25.
Yeah, easily. But Tennessee is not on the upswing. And no. Anyways, games next week. So really, it's kind of a crap schedule next week as far as college football as a whole. But here's what we have in the Big Ten.
Okay.
We got Indiana playing at Michigan. We got Michigan should win that game.
Okay.
We got Michigan State and Nebraska. We already know that. Obviously, pulling for Nebraska. Penn State at Rutgers. Penn State should win that game. Rutgers started pretty strong against Michigan, actually, until the second quarter when they didn't score anymore. And then you had Iowa at Illinois. I'm betting Illinois on that game. After what we just saw from their offense.
At Illinois?
Yeah, they can't pass. But man, the way they run, it's the way they run the ball. I know Iowa can stop the run. It's the way they run the ball and the way they can change things up. They have a 2-back set.
Yeah, and I think one of their running backs is like top 10, top 15 in the country.
I think so.
I don't think A.J. Bush has a game like he did against Nebraska because, like I said,
Yeah.
He was out for vengeance.
Yep.
But
they're playing at home.
They're playing at home, and if they're able to run the ball, I don't know how much they're going to be able to stop Iowa. I know Iowa only scored 10 points, but watching that game yesterday, Illinois isn't really stopping anybody.
No, it will be interesting to see how that game goes. But then Ohio State's at Maryland. That could be a good game. Maryland could beat Ohio State tomorrow. All right, next weekend.
They're up and down. They score some points.
They can. And we know what Ohio State can and can't do. Northwestern's at Minnesota. Who the hell knows?
Who knows?
I can't. Who knows?
I couldn't tell you.
And then Wisconsin at Purdue. Who the hell knows? I think those games are going to be. They might be fun to watch. Some of them.
Some of them might be pretty low scoring, boring games.
The SEC has their usual Week 12 FCS schedule going next week. So every team.
Which is funny because watching football today, watching a game on CBS, CBS pimps out the best SEC game, the best game from the best conference.
God.
The 2:30 CBS game every week, right?
Yeah.
So, I see, and it's Florida, Tennessee. And I'm like, how is that the best game?
And man, I saw a commercial for that
no,
on Fox.
Let me take that back. It was Missouri, Tennessee.
Yes.
And I'm like, how is it Missouri, Tennessee as the best game? And then I'm like, oh yeah, because they play the Citadel and Savannah State or whatever that.
But it's the SEC part of the network that's showing the game. But I did see the
only probably game of that's confidence.
Yeah, I did see a preview for that, a commercial for it, and I started laughing. I'm like, man, you're trying to hype up this game like it's going to be fun to watch. But man, Mizzou and Tennessee, woo! Yeah. Hold on to your hats, people. Texas Tech, that was actually a really good game, and Texas scored.
I thought Texas Tech might have a shot to win that. Or I thought they were going to win.
They did. They kicked it onside. The onside kick. Take notes, Lightborn. The onside kick. He kicked it. He drilled it like line drive right at the guy's chest. Did you see it?
Yeah, I saw it.
Oh my God! Like, how do you target a guy and actually hit him? That was incredible.
Yeah, that was pretty wild.
That was fun to watch. And
that game.
That game was fun to watch. You're right, Ross. I actually enjoyed that. It was entertaining. I just enjoy entertaining football. Of course, I don't like either team, but that game was fun to watch. I think Sam Ehlinger is one of those guys you got to watch out for next year in Texas because I believe they kind of found their stride this year, even though they kind of been up and down. I think they're a team to watch out for next year, unfortunately.
And this week, I know you didn't write it down, but Texas Iowa State is this week, which I think could be pretty solid.
Yep. The only other game really worth talking about is Syracuse Notre Dame. That's at Yankee Stadium. Pinstripe, ugly ass uniforms for Notre Dame. Look out, Notre Dame. I mean, Syracuse they are kind of on a high horse right now. I mean, they've been running high. They've been getting some good points on the board. I'm sure they took care of Louisville, put up 54 on them.
On Friday night.
Louisville's bad,
really bad.
But Notre Dame might be, and they haven't said anything about Ian Book yet. He was asked about it after the game, and Kelly was kind of quiet about it. He didn't answer the question, just dodged it.
I know that they had originally said that it appeared that he was only going to be out for 1 week, but obviously things can change. Wimbush looked, with what I watched, he looked all right against Florida State. They scored a bunch of points early on.
Second half was
they got the interception right away and punched it in.
Their defense did well early on. Their first two TDs were with inside the 20-yard line.
Yeah, they blocked an extra point, took it for 2.
Yeah.
What I watched of it, they were controlling the game.
Yeah.
Florida State had like first and goal at the 1 and got stopped 3 times.
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah, Wimbush didn't really have a great second half, but yeah, I don't know. I think Notre Dame still wins the game, but I think it's going to be really close. I'm interested to see what the line on that game is. I think it's probably going to be around 6 or 7, if you ask me.
Yeah, I mean, Syracuse is probably going to be close to the top 10. They'll probably be around 11, I would think. 11 or 12.
I would think so. We did talk about Bobby Petrino being out at Louisville, and the potential right now. The talk is Braum from Purdue being next runner-up there. Lincoln Riley to the Cleveland Browns. That's been a huge topic, actually, for Cleveland since they fired Hugh Jackson. A lot of people are thinking Lincoln Riley is a big target right now.
He was only with Baker Mayfield for 1 year.
This is what, his third year coach?
Or maybe he was with Baker Mayfield.
Is this his third year as a head coach?
Or is it his second?
This is his second or third year as a head coach. I don't know if the Browns want to bring someone in with such little experience as a head coach and being a head coach who has a high-powered offense. And, I mean, their defense has been better this year, but I don't know if that's going to...
I don't know. Their defense has given up a lot of points.
Well, some games they've been better. I'll take that back. But do you want to bring in a coach who's had 2 or 3 years of head coaching experience?
Probably not.
I think Lee Riley is a smart guy, but...
He could be in the NFL down the road.
Is he a college coach right now that you want to bring into the pro level for a Browns team who keeps circling through coaches, circling through quarterbacks, suck every year? Do you really want to bring in a young coach who maybe won't be as successful as you're thinking maybe?
Yeah, I don't know. I probably would not if it was my team, but...
Hey, I know someone you can look at. God, now I can't remember his name. I haven't had to talk about him all year because he's not... Lane Kiffin.
Oh. Yeah,
I don't even know if he's in the talks, but that kind of just shot in my head. Maybe Lane Kiffin. I just don't know.
I know that Zach Taylor was one of the front runners.
No, yeah, that's true. Zach Taylor was. Dalton just said that Bleacher Report was saying that the Cowboys are looking at Lincoln Riley. Oh boy. That's my team, just so everyone knows. And I'm all about getting rid of Garrett. I don't know if it's going to happen because I think him and Jerry are really good friends and more than just friends. Something's going on there with that relationship, but Garrett needs to go, if you ask me.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know what's going to happen.
I don't know if they're going to do it. I don't know why you'd want to go after somebody that has only been a head coach for a couple of years.
And that's my thought. I don't know if it'll happen, but time will tell. We'll see.
My head coach is probably out too for the Bucks.
Yeah,
because they're terrible.
Yeah, they're terrible. It'll be interesting. I think we had a good show today, and we talked about a lot. We covered a lot. Definitely tune into the podcast if you want to listen over again. Keep asking questions. You can always message 2 Average Guys or message Cornhusker Nation if you have questions. We're on Twitter at 2 Average Guys, so follow us on there. I try to stay as active as possible. Jimmy's not on there, so it is me. If you guys ever have questions,
I need to get in the Twitter game, guys. I'm sorry.
It's a lot to keep up with. And just a reminder to everybody out there, we talked earlier in the show, we talked about the whole Kelly Healy thing and what some people thought was a misrepresentation of the page. We are not affiliated with the university. We are Cornhusker Nation, Cornhusker fans. Yeah. We are football fans. Some of us may be basketball fans or baseball fans as well, volleyball, but primarily we are football fans of the Huskers, and that's it. We don't get paid to do this. We do this for fun.
We do this for fun, man.
So when someone asks us to reach out and help support them, we're going to do it. It's the same thing as a cancer victim reaching out and say, hey, my son has cancer. We post this out there for the GoFundMe page. It's really not that much different. So I think hopefully we can all be more respectful down the road and just understand that we are fans and we enjoy what we do.
And we give information or news or updates that we get from team or college football in general for us. Or post fun things or whatever, or giveaways or whatever. But at the same time, we talked to a recruit on the field yesterday, and he knows who we are on here. So he's going to be on here. Yeah. And so we don't want to give a negative image to recruits either. Yeah. That's a big thing.
We want to represent not only ourselves, but the Cornhusker Nation fans and Cornhusker fans in general. We're not saying we're a total representation of them, but I mean, ideally, we want to be the best source of information for you guys, and we want to build this page. And the way we're going to do that is by bringing more content and more information and supporting local people and local companies, and that's going to help us grow and help us build. We have full-time jobs. We have full-time jobs. We work Monday through Friday, and so on our weekends,
families,
we do our best to watch as much college football, watch as much highlights. We stay up late Saturday to try to catch up on everything if we don't get everything during the day. So we do our best to bring you what we can every single time, and hopefully you guys enjoy it, continue to enjoy it. Hopefully we build, we get more, and one day I'm going to be in the press conference room with Jimmy, and we're going to be asking the tough questions to Scott Frost. But I tell you, my first question to Scott Frost, it'd be a 2-part question. Question number 1, can I have your autograph? Question number 2, can I get a picture with you when the press conference is over? That's it. Those would be the first 2 questions I would ever ask. And then I will let Jimmy ask the serious questions.
I would probably ask some serious questions.
But we do this for fun. So hopefully you guys can remember that. Hopefully you enjoy the show. Ross, appreciate you. And everyone else that commented today and joining the discussion. McKenna, as usual. Dalton. Everybody that's joining in. This is fun for us. We enjoy doing this every Sunday. We enjoy keeping you updated on the content. Feel free to share with your friends, your family. Follow us on Twitter. Follow the podcast. Rate the podcast. Let us know what you guys think. And we'll be back here next Sunday again to talk about the Michigan State game. And throughout the week, we'll keep updating content. And hopefully you guys enjoy it and tune in more often.
Hopefully we can talk about a W next week.
Woo! That's all I got. I'm Matt.
I'm Jimmy.
We're 2 Average Guys. You guys enjoy the rest of your Sunday.
See you next week.